Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. I'm Tony Haggerty at the Haggerty10 Twitter handle, as you know, and I'm joined today by Sean Martin at Sean Martin TCW. And guess who's back? Wardrobe's back. There'll be a limited appearance because the diggers can't dig on hard ground because it's 3 degrees or something in East Kilbride, very cold. But there you have it. Sean, good morning. How are you?
Not bad, Tony. Aye, that's exactly the temperature according to Brian Roberts. He's in EK as well. Says that's taps off weather though, so I don't know where you're getting your workies from.
Yes, indeed. Return of the wardrobe. I hope that pleases people. But there you go, familiar sight with Sean as well and myself doing the Celtic Way Morning Briefing. And first and foremost, I'll direct you to the offer that we currently have. And you subscribe to the Celtic Way, and first new 100 subscribers will receive a limited edition A3 artwork of Callum McGregor by popular Celtic artists made by Frankie. And all you have to do is click of a button and you can get 4 months of unlimited. That isn't it? We've had a decent uptake on that, haven't we, so far?
Aye, it's quite close to it. I said this is a joke the other day, but I might genuinely have a word and see if she'll do another wee run. It seems to be quite popular.
All you have to do is click that button, guys. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. And we also say thank you to our new sponsors, SENECA, and the Celtic Way Morning Briefing is now sponsored by SENECA Medical Group. And SENECA are the #1 hair transplant company in Europe, and they offer innovative hair restoration treatments. And you can find out more about SENECA via the links in the description of this video. And we say thank you to them for that and their sponsorship. Don't we, Sean?
Certainly do, yeah.
Indeed. Now, morning to everybody. It's game day, Sean.
It's
match day on match night. Celtic will take on St Mirren at Celtic Park, and the bandwagon moves on to league duty, Sean, after the exertions in the Cup. Celtic through to League Cup final, and the manager spoke yesterday and he said there will be changes, Sean.
Yep.
He promised changes. Now,
when is there not, to be fair? When is there not?
When the manager says that, you might know there's curveballs are coming. But yeah, I mean, just looking at the two teams, Sean, Celtic, they hesitate to use the words revenge, don't they?
They do. They've went out their way not to use that word.
But you can't help but think that it is a bit of a revenge mission, because a few of the players have referenced it. Matt O'Reilly referenced it earlier in the season because he said it's the one that got away, isn't it? The perfect score and stuff like that. It was a blip, but they were all still very annoyed about that day not turning up in Paisley back in September when they lost 2-0. Grey strip and all that, Sean. People read a lot into that too. So. Yeah.
Can I just point out, first of all, Tony, that thankfully you'll have noticed, although somebody said there was a wee bit of a glitch there with the YouTube stream, this is not BBC. So there, so there will be no audio prank nonsense. Just the two dulcet tones from me and you, really, to amuse these people.
Hopefully not. Oh, what a moment in sport that was.
Unbelievable. I don't know if it was quite deserving of a front page splash in a national newspaper, right enough, but do you want to explain to people what we're talking about, in case it's because we've got a lot of people abroad that might not be watching the BBC, although they'll probably have seen it because it went viral on social media, didn't it?
Well, let's just say there's an on the mobile phones, sometimes when people ring it or you go into your apps and you click a link, there is what you can only be described as, well, I think Alan McCoy said it on TalkSport this morning, a woman having fun or a woman having great fun. And that noise forthwith. Some guys pranked Gary Lineker and the BBC boys last night, and they'd strapped a phone to the back of one of the chairs and they had played that noise so that every time when the phone rang, that was the ringtone. And for a good 10 minutes, that you could hear that ringtone because the boys kept ringing the phone. And yeah, it was a laugh to everyone else. I thought Gary Lineker, Danny Murphy and Paul Ince handled it like total pros, to be fair.
They did well, They did well. The thing is, I mean, Laura Woods pointed this out earlier on, it's different if you're on ITV or anywhere really, because you can go to a break and try and figure out what's going on, but they never had that benefit. So they could only really go to the gantry to talk to Alan Shearer, and you can only do that so many times when you're trying to introduce a game. before it's
I thought that was a brilliant point that Laura Woods made, to be fair to her. I thought it was an excellent point, but yeah.
Charlie McGarvey, what's your ringtone, Sean? I can assure you it's not that.
Don't worry, if you're across social media, you will see it many times because people have clicked it in. You can, I don't know if enjoys the word, but it's certainly, to be fair to Gary Lineker, he was very magnanimous about it and said, yep, they've been done up and well done to them. And
your description, Frank Brennan says, not only it was a woman pretending to have fun.
Okay, well, think when Harry met Sally, if you've seen the film, and Meg Ryan's kind of, but when she's sitting beside Billy Crystal in the chair in the restaurant, think that, and you're on the right lines. That's what happened. So yeah, it's, gladly, Sean, we don't have to deal with that kind of thing. I don't think.
Very childish, Tony. You would never get childish behaviour on this show. Never.
Very childish and impish indeed. Anyway, back to Celtic St Mirren, and I mentioned the word revenge, but I think that will be the unspoken word, Sean, amongst everybody at Celtic, because they will still be smarting from that defeat in Paisley in September, 2-0 defeat. Celtic just never turned up that day, did they? And the manager always stresses we turn up and play our brand of football. We're difficult to beat, and Celtic didn't do that day.
No, they didn't, and I think Beach Boys is making this very point. That's why he thinks revenge is the wrong word, because that would make it as if the opponent were underhanded or whatever. He says it was Ange Postecoglou's fault that day, not St Mirren's, not the referees, not anybody else's. Celtic's fault, basically, which is what you said there. They didn't turn up. They did not play well. They didn't deserve it, really. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a 2-goal margin of victory. Don't get me wrong, but they didn't play well enough to get it.
If memory serves, was it 6 changes he made?
I think so. But Hatate wasn't starting. O'Reilly never started. I had the team up because you'll see when we come up with predicted 11s, I've been heavily influenced by that game. But I'll try and dig it out again. You had Stephen Welsh at the back with Maurice Jensen. Remember that?
Yeah.
Here it is here. So you had Joe Hart in goal, Anthony Ralston, Stephen Welsh, Maurice Jensen, Greg Taylor at the back. So realistically, Jens was playing a lot. So realistically, it's only Welsh that wasn't a regular at that point. Ralston, all right, Juranovic was playing more, but as we've pointed out several times, Ralston, whenever he get put in the team, was playing well. Midfield 3 was Callum McGregor, and then Aaron Moy and David Turnbull. Obviously, Aaron Moy was still working his way through to fitness at that point. David Turnbull hasn't really been featuring from the start this season at all. And then up front, Leila Abada, Kyogo and Daisen Maeda. So again, it should have been a strong enough team. Yeah. And I go along with that. St Mirren thoroughly deserved it that day. Thought they executed a game plan and they did it very well. Someone else is pointing out that Ange didn't like the revenge question either. He didn't in his Q&A yesterday. I was just sort of saying that Derek Crawford there, I was just sort of saying it's a kind of unspoken word amongst players and managers, but you never actually say it publicly, do you? But there is an element to it. And when you're asked that question, then you've got to give an answer at times, haven't you? So, yeah, people don't like these kind of words, especially football people. But I still think there's an element of that about this game, Sean, that Celtic will still be smarting about that defeat and will want to make sure that it doesn't happen again. I think maybe revenge is the wrong word, but to say there won't be any sort of edge to playing against the only team to have beaten you this season would be disingenuous to me. I think there will be. It won't be probably Beach Boys is right. It won't be an all-out revenge mission because you really there was no sense of injustice. You were not good the last time you played, so it'll almost be to put it right in your own heads rather than anything else to do with St Mirren. But I still think there will be that edge to it, and I wouldn't be surprised when you come to your score predictions. I've taken quite a few goals again for that reason. I think there will be a purpose. There's always a purpose to a Celtic game, but I think there will be a purpose to kind of put that to bed, that for their own peace of mind, if nothing else. Like this from Tippy. Let's say atonement. I like that. That's a good word. I think there's a determination within the squad to atone for that because it is kind of blip league-wise this season. But yes, Sean, St Mirren, not in great form actually. No, they're not at all, no. 2 wins their last 10. Yep. 5 draws, 3 losses. Yep. Yeah. 5 draws, 3 losses. One win in our last 5, which is 4 draws, which actually sounds not bad when you think about it, but you're right, when you extend it out to 10 games, it's 2 wins. they've only kept one clean sheet since mid-October, which, as I always say every week, if you're not keeping clean sheets and you're going to Parkhead, it's going to be tough. So since I think 15th of October, so that's over 4 months. Am I miscounting there? But certainly since mid-October, they've not kept a clean sheet. And I realised there was the break for the World Cup, but it's still since mid-October, and it's still Parkhead they're going to. So I don't see that changing.
But on the plus side for St Mirren, I think they've still got the third best defensive record in the league, have they? In terms of goals conceded.
I don't know. I've not checked. I must admit, I've not checked.
I'll
check right now, though.
Only Celtic Rangers have conceded less goals, I think.
Correct. Correct. They still have.
Yeah.
27, still sixth. Tony, 27 they've conceded in their 20 games, so obviously more than one a game. But the next best, obviously Celtic are best, Rangers, and then St Mirren. The next best after that's Livingston with 30, so they're kind of comfortably the third best so far.
Possibly explain the draws amongst there.
Although as I say, there's no clean. There's only one clean sheet in there since. Sorry, one clean sheet. Did I say they've not kept a clean sheet?
You've been cutting in and out, Sean, so I can't remember.
Right, okay. No, they've kept one clean sheet since mid-October, is what I meant to say. Not that they've not kept a clean sheet, but
right, okay, fair enough. But as you say, it's not great for them. But you know what happened the last time Celtic went to Paisley with high hopes and came a cropper, so nothing's guaranteed. Celtic will have
on that note, like,
you go.
Obviously they beat Celtic earlier in the season, but at Parkhead, it's actually only 2 in a row for Celtic. Because St Mirren won as recently as January 2021, and all right, we know at that point of 2021 it was not going well for Celtic, put it that way. But still, it's not that long. Usually it's a lengthy run between wins at Parkhead for people. I don't expect it to change. I don't expect that to be a renewed kind of run or anything for St Mirren. But nonetheless, it's only been 2 games that they've not won it at Parkhead for. And I don't know, do you remember any of the survivors from that squad? I told there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 still at the club. I would argue only 3 really in with a chance of playing tonight.
Forrest will be one of them.
He wasn't in that squad. No, he wasn't in that squad. No, he wasn't there. He must have been injured. Turnbull's there, aye. Turnbull.
McGregor, obviously.
McGregor, aye. Yep.
Try to think of the other. Would Welsh have been?
Welsh is, aye. That's not who I was thinking on, but Welsh was there, aye. Ralston and Scott Bain, and then Greg Taylor. Obviously, Taylor's injured. Welsh, I mean, he's not. Did he actually confirm if he's still picking up, if he's still injured, or if he's just not in the squads, or what? I don't know what the situation with Welsh is just now.
I think he said the guys were coming back, didn't he?
Right.
But I don't know what he said.
You'd imagine out of those, obviously Taylor injured, Turnbull, McGregor, and Ralston are the 3 that I was thinking might be in with a shout of playing. McGregor will play. Ralston, I don't know. It depends because he's been out for a few weeks there. But beyond that, and this is where I go back to the silver lining rather than, this is the last time St Mirren beat Celtic at Parkhead. But beyond that, that January 2021 win, St Mirren haven't won at Celtic Park this millennium, Tony. So there we go.
Yeah, I knew they'd a pure record there at Celtic Park. So yeah, I was hoping that continues. Now, Sean, Aidan, and myself did our predicted 11s. Want to have a wee look at that, Sean?
Yeah. Put yours up first.
Yeah, put mine up first. Yeah, there you go. People might say it's a controversial lineup, Sean, but I just heard the word there'll be changes, so I made some changes. So there you go. You see my defence. Johnston comes back in. He spoke about Johnston. He mentioned Johnston, and he bigged up Bernabe. So I thought, yep, he was making positive noises towards Bernabe, so I think he'll get the nod. And then Moyes came out in my midfield. I just thought McGregor, Hatate, and O'Reilly will start, but the biggest ones being in is Haksabanovic and Giakoumakis, Sean.
I think it probably is. That's fair. Aye.
But my reasoning behind that is I just like Haksabanovic, I really do, and I want to see more of him, and I think the Celtic supporters want to see more of him. Thought Jota was a wee bit off it at Hampden on Saturday, so just thought, well, if Haksabanovic is back fit, give him a wee run out, see what he brings to the table. And Giakoumakis, I just thought he might get a wee reward for scoring a clinching goal on Saturday, and see if it's his last, well, we keep getting told it's his last game, but he keeps coming on and playing, doesn't he? And doing stuff. So we'll just keep going.
Andrew Gillier coming in saying he'd rest Hatate. This is 21st successive competitive start, I think it would be. Yeah, I'm losing count now. I said it at the 18th, and then I keep forgetting where I am at this point. But I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think he'll still play. I do think it would be good to see Turnbull get some game time, to be honest. But I don't think it will happen today. In terms of my team, I agree with you, Tony. First and foremost, I want to see Haksabanovic more. I think the more he plays, the better he's going to get. That said, I have not taken him to start just because of the way that, as Postecoglou mentioned, that they'd returned. Same with Ralston, I've not took him to start either. It's good that they're back available. And to be honest, if anybody's going to start and maybe come off at half time or something, it'll be Haksabanovic, because that's happened to him a couple of times. I just think it sounded to me like he might come off the bench. I've went with Juranovic at right back. I've no qualms if it's Johnston. As I said earlier on, despite I don't want to use the word revenge now that we've agreed it shouldn't be the word to use, but I'm clearly influenced by that St Mirren game in Paisley. So I've tried to pick as many as the players that started that game as I feasibly think I can. And it's basically the same front three that started that loss that I've gone for. And then the same midfield bar Hatate coming in for Turnbull. The defence is wildly different due to the injuries and signings. And obviously Carter Vickers was injured at the time that they went to St Mirren. No surprise maybe given they conceded twice then. But I've went for Juranovic to start again, although I would like to see Johnston. I can't deny that. I'd like to see Johnston start. I don't know if Ralston's going to go straight back in, but again, I'm fine if he does. Taylor's still out, so I agree with you. Alexandro Bernabeu over there again at left back. Centre backs in Paisley was Stephen Welsh and Maurice Jens, but this time I just see him going back to Carter Vickers and Starfelt, continue with the two of them. So it's very different for me, Tony, in that area. But further forward, I've definitely let that influence my thinking, probably more than I should have. Especially since, as I say, like you, I want to see Haksabanovic start again if he's fit enough to do it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We try and second guess him, don't we? And it's all good fun. We would like to see if we can, but yeah, I based it on the fact that he said he would need really freshened up. He just feels there's been a lot of football played with a lot of guys, and took its toll, that heavy part the other day, so we'll see what happens. But
I've got to remember the next game after this is you've got to remember the next game after this is a cup game against a second tier team. So that's the one that you'd kind of earmark for maybe a heavier rotation. But nonetheless, he's said there will be changes. But then again, as I said, there's always changes. It just depends how many.
I think that I'd kind of hung my hat on seeing the likes of Iwata in that game.
The Morton game.
The Morton game, yeah. And maybe Kobayashi as well in the Morton game. So I wouldn't rule that out. You see, talk about rotation. But yeah, I mean, I think the three of us have all picked different teams, haven't we?
We have. I've got Aiden's here as well, even though he's not here to defend himself. So let's tear it apart, Tony. Let's tear it apart. To be fair, Aiden, he is the only guy to pick Jota of the three.
Yes, he
is. And the only constant in our front threes is Maida, because none of the three of us have got the same front three. You've went Maida, Giakoumakis, Haksabanovic. I've went Maida, Kyogo, Abada, and then as you can see on the screen, Aiden's went Maida, Giakoumakis, and Jota. So Maida's the only one getting a start according to us for definite.
Well, I think Maida is in pretty imperious form at the minute, so you wouldn't drop Maida, would you? He's just had a wee purple patch, and I think he seems to be enjoying his football, and he's bringing a lot to the table, both offensively and defensively. So, and I think he's ticking all the boxes that the manager loves, and he's always said that about Maida. It's not just he's selfless, I think was the phrase he used for him at Easter Road. I think you saw that on Saturday. I think you see that in a lot of the players, but Maida particularly, he always seems to, whenever people are giving Maida a hard time for maybe not scoring, he always flags up what Maida actually does.
Part of that was kind of why, and I realise this is getting more ludicrous, even though he's hitting a bit of a form. But that's kind of why I thought he was an underdog for the top scorer, mostly because I just felt, and I said this at the time, I felt he might play more than any of the other forwards more consistently, because he's one of Ange Postecoglou's favourites, but he's also, even when he's not, as we've seen earlier in the season, even when he's not hitting the target, he just brings so much in terms of work rate and off the ball stuff that I just felt he would play maybe the most minutes of the front three. I might be proved wrong in that come the end of the season. Maybe Jota will have played more, maybe Kyogo will have played more, but I just, that was my logic.
You would never fault Maeda's work rate, application, efforts and endeavour, but what you have got recently, and allied to that, is his ability to take a chance now.
Yep.
His goal at Easter Road was different gravy, and also his goal that was disallowed on Saturday was different gravy as well. The way
really good finish.
The way he picked it out the top corner, and that's a confident guy. His goal at Ibrox as well, ran through, took advantage of the slack pass, shrugged off Tavernier, and then slotted it away. Just a guy on the top of his game at the minute, and I think the manager recognised that, and I think a lot of the Celtic supporters recognise that too, and are enjoying the fact that he's bringing his A game to the table, and he's actually a potent weapon in it. And I think he's one of these guys that he's underrated by opposition.
Until they play directly against them.
Yeah, because I think they just kind of see him as a workhorse, who runs about. But my goodness, his contribution.
He loves to get into those positions. That's kind of what you've seen in the Champions League, and I obviously broke down the kind of 10 best, if you want to put it that way, 10 best missed chances of the Champions League, because Celtic missed a fair amount. And Maeda featured prominently in that. There's no getting away from that. But what I did take away from it was that he didn't necessarily let the fact that he missed a real sitter get to him, because he did get back into the positions. He was there to miss them again, if you want to put it that way, which is what you're told from boys club level. Don't, like, just as long as you make that run, as long as you get back in, one of them will go in. Now, obviously in the Champions League they didn't go in, but it didn't deter him from making that run, and that's what Postecoglou loves about him.
Well, the manager said that the other day about Kilmarnock, after the Kilmarnock game, when he squared it across for the first goal, the opening goal, in that tight first half. And he said the one thing he's guaranteed about Maeda is he's going to run at you. And if he doesn't get the ball over the first time, he's going to run at you again. And he's going to keep running at you. He's going to keep making those runs. That's the pass that I alluded to from Bernabe, which was a brilliant pass. Spotted the run, Maeda executes the ball over. Impossible to defend. Tap in 1-0. So that's what he brings to the table, Maeda. And I'm enjoying watching him just now. I think he has taken a wee bit of stick from Celtic fans, probably harshly, because he's maybe not Kyogo or he's not Giakoumakis, that kind of thing. So yeah, and fair play to him and more power to him. And I'm enjoying watching him now, because you kind of study him closely and you see in greater depth. Because when you listen to the manager, you do look at players and you think, oh yeah, he is doing that. And he's just saying,
I remember
he's on the top, Sean.
Last year, near the end of the season, during the run-in, I kind of broke down one of his performances. I think it was a Ross County game at Parkhead. Basically, it was based off the fact one of my pals who doesn't regularly go to the games, but he was at that game, and he messaged me as soon as he came out saying that Maeda's an absolute pest, isn't he? So that was in the headline and everything, and I just broke it down, kind of what he was doing and when, and have a couple of clips and a couple of screenshots and different things. And what stuck out to me, not only the relentless stuff, which I think everybody notices now, and not even just the runs that he was making, but despite this kind of reputation that he's got of like, maybe not having the shooting boots sometimes, and maybe suffering for a wee bit of the Kenny Millers sometimes, that whether if he's made to think about it, he'll maybe sky it, that kind of thing. He was actually really good with his link-up play in that game, and maybe it's not a feature of his game in week to week, but certainly in that game, some of the touches he came off with, and some of the layoffs that he was pulling off was high quality. There's no getting away from it, and I think he's got that in his locker. But as you say, maybe people don't realise that until they're up directly against him. They maybe think, right, well, he'll run, but he's maybe one of those players that they think, well, it's not the end of the world if he's get the ball near the box, because they don't trust him to finish it until they come up against him, and he's in this kind of form where you think, oh no, can't I let him shoot?
Yeah, correct, and I think that's what the manager loves about him too, and I think he gives everything for the team cause. I think his teammates like him as well.
Oh, aye. You would love playing with a guy like that, wouldn't you?
Well, and just what an engine he's got. He is one of those selfless team players, of which Celtic team is full of them, but him more so than MD. I would
loves a wee, as much as he's got the work rate, he actually loves a wee physical battle as well. As I said about the double header against Lewis Mayo, who's bigger than him. I know he's Maida's not exactly big anyway, but Lewis Mayo's quite big for a right back and quite robust physically. And the two of them had a ding dong. The two of them for the first game at Parkhead especially, but they done it again at the semi-final. And Maida loves it. You can tell he likes it. He does not mind it one bit.
He doesn't shirk from it, does he? Let's be honest. And that's a great attribute to have,
especially Scottish football. I'm going to draw your attention, Tony, to the top of the screen there, the Alexandre Bernabé position, right? Because we've had a few comments. Derek Crawford says he thinks that Juranovic should play left back. Steve McGrory comes in saying wouldn't be against seeing Kobayashi playing at left back because it gets him some game time while preserving the central defensive partnership. We've all gone for Bernabé to play left back. Do you think there is any chance it's anybody other than him?
I was listening to the manager. I mean, he was asked questions directly about Bernabé and he was singing his praises. So I based it on that. Now, he might throw the curveball and play somebody like Kobayashi at left back. I'm not too sure. I get back to that. There's a league to be won here. Mm-hmm. And he made a lot of changes in the St Mirren game away in Paisley in September, and it came back to bite Celtic. So as much as he's promised changes, I don't think he'll tinker too much in terms of positional changes. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think he'll just be like for like. Bernabé at left back for me. Kobayashi could play there. I don't think he would put Juranovic there or Ralston for that matter. I just think you stick with what you've got in terms of natural left backs. And I think Bernabé, I think everybody says Bernabé blows hot and cold. But the manager was singing his praises yesterday, and that's a real confidence boost for somebody like Bernabé to hear. And if he gives them the nod for this game, then you go out and show why the manager spoke so highly of you.
I agree with you. I don't think you speak that highly of somebody to give them a pep up and then not play them in the next game, especially with Taylor still not ready. Yeah. I've put in a link to, just on the subject of Bernabé, that Stuart Ross dug into the data and had a wee look at his performances and stuff today, because it's 6 months since he signed. So kind of looking at what he's brought to the table, where he needs to improve, if it's maybe over the top, some of the criticism, because he is prone to giving the ball away, he is prone to a turnover. But there was a conversation Stuart was having on Twitter last night with Tony McLaughlin, Celtic Trends, if you follow him on Twitter, and they were basically both agreed that turnovers is something you can work that out of your game, but you can't necessarily coach somebody into having the pace that Bernabé's got, or coach somebody into having the attacking instinct that he's got. So the tools are still very much there. He's only 22. You've got to remember he's coming to a new country, all of that stuff. He's not that experienced as a senior pro, certainly not in the kind of club that Celtic is. So basically Stuart's piece was very much data driven, but it was still, the crux of it was it's far too early to write him off. And for that reason as well, I just think he's going to get this run while Taylor's not available. When Taylor's back available, right, fair enough. I think everybody knows he's the first choice. But it's up to Bernabé. You're always talking about yellow jerseys. You can only try and get the yellow jersey when you get your chance, and he's getting his chance just now.
And
John O'Neill's comment there. Sorry, on you go, Tony.
You see, a lot of guys are quick to highlight deficiencies, like someone Starfelt makes a mistake or Bernabé makes a mistake, but I think it also is right. You've got to highlight when they do something really well, and I thought his pass to Maida for the opening goal against Kilmarnock in the league game at Celtic Park was superb. First of all, you've got split second to make up your mind on that. We've got to spot the run for a start, and then to play it with that kind of accuracy and precision, So, yeah, you have to turn around and say when guys do things that are, or they perform very well in certain situations, and you have to big them up too. So, I think that's what the manager was kind of alluding to yesterday when he was talking about Bernabé in glowing terms, saying, listen, there's a player here, so. And yeah, David Ferguson saying he had a chance to show what he can do when Taylor was out. So, and he didn't have the greatest game at Hampden the other day, but he wasn't alone in that. So Celtic still won the game, and he's young, and and that's my thoughts. He's the raw materials there, Sean. Yeah.
Derek Crawford came in saying he read Stuart's Bernabeu piece earlier. It was good as usual. Appreciate that, Derek. A few comments. I flicked it up saying can he play left back Kobayashi, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago. I mentioned it when he was first linked as well. Not really. Like, he's played left back, but I wouldn't say that that's in any way where he's been signed for Celtic to play. Especially when you've got Taylor or injured just now, and then a natural left back in Bernabeu who's young and been bought this season. I just don't see that happening. I don't think it would do Kobayashi any favours either to throw him in at left back when he's been signed to be that left centre back that can pass the ball and be an actual lefty that Celtic have been kind of needing, I would say. I know Starfelt's been doing well there, but he's still obviously playing on the wrong side, and I think that gets exploited sometimes. So I think I just would. You can never rule it out, but I wouldn't expect to see Kobayashi play left back. And I think it was something like 500 minutes he's played as a left back as a professional in senior football. Right. I think it was only 4 starts as a left back. So he has played there, but not in any sort of length of time that you could say he is a left back or anything like that, or he can play left back. He has played there, but I just don't see that happening.
I would be surprised to see that, to be fair. But again, the manager's promised changes, Sean. So hey, we have put our 11 there. It's there, and we'll see what happens.
Said it was shot down, as it always is. I love doing it, Tony. I'm not going to lie. I don't like getting things wrong, but you need to make your peace with it. I predicted 11, especially when Ange Postecoglou's the manager that you're second guessing, and I like doing it.
Listen, we challenge the viewers and the contributors to do theirs as well and see how they get on, and it's we have a laugh with it. That's the thing about it, and then we have a wee kind of fun over social media with it. So, I can't remember what did we get on Saturday. We got
9.
9 was it? 9.
11, something like that.
Yeah. So it's. I think the Alloa Scottish Cup tie apart.
Yeah.
Last year, I think we're usually upwards of 8 and 9, aren't we?
Usually you get occasional 6 or 7, which is embarrassing, but still.
Yeah.
But I do anyway. Probably the night.
I'll come back to you on that later, guys. It's like 5 out of 11. Something like must do better. But there you go. But it's another game, Sean, where, as like everything else, 3 points is a must. Celtic need to be clinical, professional, turn up, perform.
Yeah.
And as the manager always says, if they do all those things, tick the results, tick the performance box, the results should surely follow. And if they play their brand of football, they will be difficult to stop. That's the way it usually pans out.
Aye, that's exactly it. And it was a word we used earlier on, atonement.
Atonement.
I think they will atone for the earlier loss to St Mirren.
Yeah, I'm fully in agreement with that. Are we going to make predictions, Sean?
You want to do that? Aye, I think. I'm happy to go first because I've went 4-0 again. Third thing lucky because it's the third game in a row I've tipped 4-0. But I went 4-0 again.
Okay, and in time-honoured tradition, I usually go one more, don't I? So I'll go 5-0 then.
All right, you with Jerry Smith then.
Brian
Jerry Roberts has went 1 fewer. David Gillespie saying he can see it going a similar way to the midweek game against them last season. He's going 2-0. Robert Gibson 3-1. Patrick McLaughlin 3-1. Maria Dillon 3-0. 6-0. 3-0. There we go. 2-0.
Yeah, I think most people are pretty confident that Celtic will guarantee a home win, Sean. Yeah. Regardless of what team the manager puts out. It
was 6-0 at home last season. Last season.
I think there's a strong enough quality about Celtic to overcome opposition and to overcome the challenges, which Ange always talks about in his press conferences prior to matches, that every team sets out a different challenge to Celtic, but they have this uncanny knack and ability to overcome them. So, Gordon Coney, double-digit Wednesday, 10-0. You having that, Sean?
We've said before it could happen. It could happen to someone. Almost happened to Dundee United. It could happen to somebody this season. I don't know if it'll be the night, but it could happen to somebody this season. I'm laughing at Beach Boys saying how much will it cost the engraver to get Greg Taylor's name off of the TCW Player of the Year trophy. How does he know, Tony? How does he know?
Oh, well, the favouritism kicking in here, Sean, with your own particular bias. The German, Robert Gibson, the German Victory Tony Wardrobe is back. Yes, well, no digging today until maybe this afternoon. Hard ground. Yes, I do like that word scudding, but always.
An Inverness clack na cudding, as you
always
say.
An Inverness clack na cudding, Sean, indeed. I like what I was. But someone's doing Inverness clack na cudding. I agree with 1888 CFC, but Celtic to win 7-1. There you go.
Okay, cool. Coming in saying Moy to take a penalty 3-1. That's actually an interesting one. Do you think Moy is a penalty taker now that he's that people have missed a couple and he took one and scored one, didn't he?
He did indeed, and he took it with great aplomb. It was no nonsense, just buried in the bottom corner. I don't know actually if he'll be the designated penalty taker, but it's been a problem for Celtic in the past with Giakoumakis missing a couple, Juranovic missing a couple. So I mean, I guess it's one of them. It's the yellow jersey thing, Sean, in terms of penalties, isn't it? Or whoever's on the park at the time, but.
Well, a lot of it is to do with that. Yeah. A lot of it is to do with that.
But yeah, Marquis.
As long as they don't do Alexander Mitrovic, do you see that?
Yes.
A film double hit it. I don't know if that's what you call it, but he hit it, and then hit it off his own foot, and had to get it disallowed. So
I just don't want if Celtic do get a penalty and all three guys are on the park that. Penalty takers to argue about.
No, I think that's the worst part. And that's when the captain at that point just wanders over and says, "Right, gives the ball. It's such and such." Hopefully, he doesn't take it because he's not got a great record.
I'm not sure these things are ironed out before they go on the park. But it was just.
You never know that. I remember in the Premier League. I think it was Everton. I remember. I think Leighton Baines must have been off the park or something, and Kevin Morales demanded to take a penalty. I think. And it was someone else who was meant to be taking it, and an argument ensued. And I can't remember who the captain was, but they never really done much. They just kind of watched it unfold. And I've always thought, well, no, in that situation, the captain must know who the penalty taker is, so just go over and take charge of the situation, because it puts whoever takes it off. It puts whoever ends up taking it off a wee bit, having argued before it and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying that will happen. I don't think it will, but still.
Patrick McLaughlin flicked up, Simon Lynch and Sean Maloney, fight. I remember that. And I was also a Celtic Rangers game at Celtic Park when Joe Miller argued with somebody and took the ball and ended up missing. I think Celtic ended up losing the game 2-1. That would have made it 2 each. And I'm with you on that one. I think it does put the taker off eventually, because I don't think they're in the right frame of mind if they argue.
And even if see, if it's someone that wants a penalty that's not really meant to take it, but they get given it, I still think they've put themselves off by asking for it, because the pressure is even higher because you've taken that off your teammate, that kind of thing.
Of course, yeah. I mean, all in the proviso that they get a penalty, Sean.
That's true. There's a couple of comments in there saying there's no reason to discuss this. They're not getting a penalty.
But yeah, if it's Moy, I'm not too perturbed. Took his last one with aplomb and scored it. That's all you want. You just want somebody who's hitting the penalty to take it and score it. As hard a task as that may seem.
Yep. There's one more topic, I think, Tori. It's the transfers latest. We were just going to draw attention to a transfer link that's emerged in the last couple of hours, I think. Oh,
Hyung Gu, is that right? Is that how you're saying it?
I think so.
That's something this morning. Yeah. But I believe the update has come from Korean media who are maybe latching on to a report that was in the Daily Express.
That's what I can see anyway.
Yeah,
that's what I can see. I surfaced again this morning, but I noticed that although it says like reports on the Korean media, say when you actually go to the Korean media report that it's been linked to, or themselves linking to a report from the Express over here a couple of days ago, just saying that he's a scouting option. So I wouldn't get too bogged down in that one today, really, unless anything else changes.
No, and again, it's one of those people putting two and two together and saying this will be a replacement for
potentially,
potentially, all that kind of stuff. the manager again had his say on Georgios Giakoumakis yesterday. So
yep.
And he's in my
Which
team.
was good news for us because you had already written your newsletter for Tuesday night or Monday night. Once again, pleading for people to see sense and Giakoumakis to stay, get a wee bit more money. It's certainly for Celtic not to sell him for the 3 million being quoted.
I think I was on Tenterhooks, as Ange was saying about after that newsletter. Listen, I had nailed that. I said it in the piece that I'd nailed my colours to the mast earlier on this one. I genuinely thought that Giakoumakis would sign a new deal. I thought everybody would get round the table and come to some sort of amicable solution. I've made the point. I'm not talking about breaking wage structures or breaking the bank. I was just talking about if we don't know what the problem is, if there's a problem, but if there's been promises made verbally or assurances that he would get more money, then I think it's fair to say after last season's exploits he's worth the rise, but I don't want a player like that to take the rise out of Celtic, if you get what I mean. So it can't be exorbitant demands, and agents fill players' heads with nonsense. And I look at the fact as well that the calibre of team that's coming in for him, or that he's been linked with, could he do better? Possibly, but I go back to what the manager said. It's not his job to keep players happy, and if they want more game time, then good luck, go elsewhere. But good luck finding that football utopia that you get at Celtic, that happiness, and the competing in the best club tournament in the world, the Champions League, and competing for prizes and being successful and getting the adulation of so many supporters around the world. I mean, you find it hard to replace that void in your life once you leave Celtic. And if you're going to go and it's for monetary reasons and you're looking after your family, fine. Footballers are entitled to go where they want, go where they feel or go where they want, and it's a short career. And I get all that, but I'm talking about personal happiness. And Ange Postecoglou's referenced it before. If you don't have personal happiness playing for Celtic at this moment in time and at this juncture, then I don't really know what you want, so there you go.
I mean, I was listening to you. I've put the link to your article that I was talking about in the comments. If anybody wants to read it, but I was listening to you and Aidan yesterday, and to me, as much as I think Kevin Nisbet is a good player, I think Hibs. I know the contract situation is not ideal, but I think because it's a team in the same league, Hibs could easily ask for the bulk of what they're going to get. Celtic would presumably get for Georgios Giakoumakis, the way that it stands just now. You've got to ask yourself, is that worth it? Is he an upgrade? He's probably not an upgrade. He's probably either about the same or slightly worse. I do think he's a good player, but it comes back to that thing where if you're improving the squad, surely the next striker that comes in has got to be capable of challenging Kyogo for a starting berth. And I don't think Kevin Nisbet is capable of that because he's just not as good a player. And I don't think he brings enough different qualities like Giakoumakis does to feasibly be an alternative that could challenge him. So to me, that doesn't really make sense, and I think it was almost an automatic. Oh well, they must be after Nisbet again, that kind of thing. I might be able to be proved wrong on that. I suppose we'll see. But no, I don't think that's the way to go. But ultimately, if they do get rid of Giakoumakis, they need another striker in.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you've made the case before. They might need another one anyway. But to me, it's got to be somebody capable of challenging Kyogo, and I just don't think he is.
I've also said before, he's highly popular with his manager, his fellow teammates, and also the fans. So I just something is going on here, something that we're not, party to, and we don't know yet. But I just think it's. I don't know. I just don't see the wisdom in letting Giakoumakis go at this juncture. And when I say the three protagonists in all of this, Michael Nicholson, Ange Postecoglou being one protagonist, Giakoumakis and his agents, they'll have to come to some sort of arrangement at some point in the next couple of weeks, and it will play out the way it does. I would be bitterly disappointed to see him go. No one's irreplaceable, but I totally agree with what you're saying. If you're going to bring somebody in, then they have to be better than Giakoumakis, or at least like-minded in the fact that they'll challenge Kyogo. But the longer it goes on, the less time you have to bring said player in if Giakoumakis gets sold. That's my point as well. But again, and I've said it as well, that the manager's the most relaxed guy about this. Whenever he's asked, and that's why I kind of, he likes a bit of reverse psychology, doesn't he? Which is why I've included him in the team tonight, because I think that's the kind of guy Ange Postecoglou is. That he'll reward them for his past couple of cameo performances, because he has come on and he's made a big difference.
He very well might. I also think it would be harsh on Kyogo to rotate him out after one game of not scoring, and a game where he did play that massive, that lovely ball through to Maida, albeit it was offside. But I don't know. I wouldn't rule it out. I would think he might start against Morton instead, if he's here, I suppose. But I will see.
Yeah, there you go. There we have it. Well, that's been over 45 minutes, Sean. Again, talking about Celtic. Thank you guys for all the comments in the comment section. We appreciate it. We always do. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We appreciate the community that we've built on the Celtic Way morning briefing. We hope you enjoy it. We certainly do. And as always, have a wonderful Wednesday. Result dependent, of course, isn't it? So I'll always couch it by saying that. But I'll just draw your attention again to the bottom of your screen, the start line. And it's our new offer. You subscribe to the Celtic Way, and the first 100 new subscribers will receive that wonderful limited edition A3 artwork of Callum McGregor by popular Celtic artists made by Frankie, all for the click of a button, and also cost you £1 for 4 months of unlimited access to everything that we write on the website. And all you have to do is just click that, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Guys, thank you for those kind comments. It really do means a lot to us. We're glad you enjoy it. And we also thank SENECA for their sponsorship. Now, the Celtic Way Morning Briefing is now sponsored by SENECA Medical Group, and SENECA are the #1 hair transplant company in Europe and offer innovative hair restoration treatments. And you can find out more about SENECA via the links in the description of this video. With that, we say thank you to them. Celtic play St Mirren, John. Atonement, not revenge. We'll end with that. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you, Sean. First class as always.
Cheers, Tony. Cheers, guys.